In the quiet little town of Meadowbrook, where the sidewalks curve gently and the wooden houses lean into each other like old friends, lived a single father named Oliver Hart. Oliver's daily rhythm was simple: off to work at dawn, return at dusk, make dinner, read a story, then sleep. He'd long ago settled into this unchanging loop after his wife Essie's passing left him alone to raise his daughter, Isla. Time had taught him grief and routine, but it hadn't taught him hope. Then one cold autumn evening, his life shifted in a way he never saw coming. It started when he heard a knock on his creaky front door. On the stoop stood a little girl, no older than 6 or 7, trembling and clutching a small teddy bear. Her hazel eyes were wide with fear, and as Oliver crouched beside her, she whispered in a voice thinner than the breeze, "I can to find my mommy." Those words struck Oliver like thunder. The kind of fear in her eyes was not new to him. It mirrored his own daughter's once haunted gaze in the hospital years ago. He opened the door wider, wrapped his worn college jacket around the girl's shoulders, and said softly, "You're safe now, sweetheart. I'll help you find her." With that promise, he stepped across the threshold of his quiet home and into a story far greater than he ever expected. Oliver ushered the girl inside and made a cup of warm cocoa while she sat trembling on the sofa, clutching her bear. The boyish jacket he had tossed over her shoulders smelled faintly of wood smoke and autumn leaves, an aroma of familiar comfort. She introduced herself as Lily, though she didn't know where she came from. She only remembered that her mommy's car went boom and fire was everywhere. Oliver's heart clenched. He flicked on the radio. A breaking news bulletin cut through the static. A luxury car had crashed on Highway 9, a woman missing, possibly swept away in the floodwaters of the nearby river. No name yet, no confirmation. Oliver's hand trembled on the radio knob. The little girl beside him, silent now, drifted to sleep. Her hand rested on the seat next to him, small, fragile, trusting. Oliver's own daughter, Isla, had been her age when she died of leukemia 3 years ago. He swallowed hard. He could not walk away from this child. Morning light filtered through the curtains, and Lily awoke to Oliver flipping pancakes in the kitchen. "You're funny," she giggled when a pancake flew off the pan and landed on the counter. For the first time in years, Oliver laughed. The house, once quiet and still, now held lightness. Days passed. Lily ran barefoot through the grass in the backyard, picked daisy chains, painted on Oliver's old easel, and ate up all the attention that had been missing in his life. The dusty toys of Ila's childhood were dusted off and used again, their parts reassembled, their stories rewritten for Lily. Yet every laugh carried a note of sorrow. Because Oliver wasn't her father, somewhere out there a mother must be desperately searching for this lost girl. A part of him trembled at the thought, but an even stronger part of him held on to the trust in her eyes. He promised himself, just one night longer, just until he could figure out who she was. He broached the local sheriff's department. A missing child alert had been issued for a girl believed to be the daughter of a businesswoman named Victoria Hawke, who had been in the luxury car accident. No confirmed leads yet. Oliver left a message, but no reply. The small-town department was overwhelmed with routine calls. This might not reach them. Then, one crisp morning, a knock on the door jolted him awake. 2 men in black suits stood outside. Behind them glinted a sleek luxury car. "Mr. Oliver Hart," one asked gravely, "we're with the Hawke Foundation Security Division. We have reason to believe you are in possession of a missing child, Miss Hawke's daughter." Oliver froze. In the doorway behind him was Lily, clutching his sleeve. The taller agent's eyes softened slightly as he looked at the little girl. "We're not here to cause trouble," he said quietly. "Mrs. Hawke has been looking for her since the accident." Then the woman herself stepped out of the luxury car, hair disheveled, eyes red from sleepless nights, coat oversized, trembling. She saw Lily and collapsed to her knees. "Lily," she whispered, "my baby." Lily hesitated for a moment, stared at the woman, then ran forward. "Mommy!" she cried, burying her face in the woman's arms. Oliver turned away, wrenching, a mix of joy for them and loss for him. The woman turned to him and said, "You saved her, didn't you?" Oliver replied simply, "I just did what anyone would have done." She shook her head. "No, not anyone. Most people would have called the police and walked away. You cared. You stayed." Oliver thought that was the end. But 3 nights later, Victoria Hawke knocked gently and asked if she might come in. They sat around Oliver's kitchen table. The scent of pancakes still lingered. Lily had told her mother all about the man who made her pancakes and told her bedtime stories about stars. Victoria looked around at the humble wooden home, at the worn floorboards and cozy simplicity, then opened a small box. Inside, a framed photograph of Victoria's late husband holding a baby. He had died in a plane crash. "Lily is all I had left," Victoria whispered. "After the accident, I believed I lost her." Oliver nodded slowly. He knew that hollow pain. Then she said the truth that shattered his world. Before her husband died, he told her something. They had used a donor when she couldn't conceive. She wasn't sure, but she had the results. She slid across a DNA confirmation paper. The donor was Oliver Hart. The world stopped spinning for Oliver. She looked straight into his eyes. "She's your daughter." Oliver's breath caught. The little girl who had called for her mommy, who had brought laughter back into his life, his own blood. There was a long silence, 2 broken souls facing a new truth. Tears welled in Oliver's eyes. Victoria said softly, "I didn't tell you right away because I wasn't sure you'd want anything to do with us. But when I saw how Lily looked at you, I knew she felt something too, something deeper." Oliver leaned back and wiped his eyes. "I don't know what to say." "Then don't," she said gently. "Just be in her life if you want to." Months rolled by. The bond grew organically. Every weekend, Victoria brought Lily to Oliver's home. They went fishing by the lake, painted sunrises, chased fireflies at dusk. Lily had started calling Oliver Dad Oliver, giggling every time in the sunlit yard. Victoria watched quietly, her heart healing in the background. What touched Oliver most wasn't the discovery of blood. It was the discovery of hope. He had thought his chance at fatherhood was gone forever, but life, in its old-school wisdom, gave him a second chance when he least expected it. One evening, the sky a deep crimson above the pine husks, Oliver and Victoria stood on his wooden porch while Lily ran through the field chasing fireflies. "You know," Victoria said softly, "when I lost my husband, I thought I'd never love anyone again. But life has a strange way of giving us back what we thought was gone forever." She looked at Oliver. Maybe this was meant to be. Oliver smiled, eyes on Lily. "Maybe." The town of Meadowbrook whispered quietly about fate, about how kindness, old-school kindness, the kind you remember from childhood, can change lives in ways no one sees coming. Oliver rarely sought attention. All he ever cared about was that Lily was safe, and that somehow he had been given the fatherhood he always dreamed of. That night, under a canopy of stars, Lily pointed upward and asked, "Dad Oliver, do you think the stars are where angels live?" Oliver's eyes glistened. He took a slow breath and said, "I think the stars are love." And in that moment, time seemed to pause, because sometimes the greatest stories are the oldest ones told again. A lost child, a kind stranger, a reunion. In the warm, wood-scented house at the edge of Meadowbrook, the laughter of the little girl filled the emptiness. Oliver felt for the first time in years that home meant more than a place. It meant connection, legacy, the past honored and the future welcomed. If this story resonated with you, if you believe small acts of kindness still matter, and if you believe second chances can be the greatest gifts, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to support stories that show how hope, tradition, and true heart still shape our lives. Because sometimes the most remarkable miracles come in the most ordinary nights.